Okay. Brothers and sisters, we are back one more time. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whenever you get around to this. This is White Heaven 2024, the Carpet Beggar. I was going to call it the Carpet Bagger, but just don't want to get in all that trouble. Now, off to your right-hand side here, or to your left-hand side, wherever you're at, however it comes up on your screen, there's going to be some links here that we're going to get to later. But for right now, what we're first going to do is we're going to go in the back of this Holy Bible Concordance that I own. I'm not sure if you can see that. It's kind of dark. And there's some very interesting information. Now, years ago, I was going over this quite regularly, but it's been such a long time that I brought it up. I felt that it was necessary to bring this to the forefront. But before we do that, I got a tab over here, and I just wanted to do this. History of Islam being a Turkic religion. And we're just going to go down here. And we're going to Islam and Turks. So we're going to go to asatours.com.au. And we're going to go down. I don't want to use any particular site. And we're going to, but this is from them, so it's easier to use that. And I'm going to put this link over here. Give me one moment, and then I'm going to read all this information to you. Bang, bang, bang. Not all of it, but enough. The religion of the Turks. The ancient Turks worshipped, listen to this, worshipped the elements of nature and believed they had been created by the sky god. Now, I know his name is not Wotan, but I need y'all to understand. Who else said that they came from the sky god, y'all? Let's go ahead and keep it pushing. They called this creator Tengri and offered him animal sacrifices, mostly horses, cows, and sheep, as befitted semi-nomadic pastoralists. Tengri cult was widespread among the Turkic people of Inner Asia, and traces of its religious tradition lived long after they had left their old homeland and moved to Central Asian and Pontic steppes and later to the Middle East. The Turk religious system also accommodated shamanistic practices and the cults of lesser deities, among them a female deity of protection and fertility. Living in mountainous regions, ancient Turks gave due respect to the mountains and regarded them as sacred. Now, why do you think the Most High God tells people don't to go up to high places to sacrifice and to worship and all that? Don't worry, we're going to keep going. Turk ancestor worship. What? Turk ancestor worship required that the Quagin himself lead an annual procession of the nobles bearing sacrifices to the ancestral cages. Now, give me one moment. I got to pull up this word Quagin. I got to Google that. I ain't read that before. It's my first time reading this, y'all. Search Google for that word. The Quagin Tagayuan tribe of Sandpoint is federally recognized. No. The imperial rank of the Turkic, Mongolic, and some other languages. These people are related to the Khans. These motherfuckers are related to the Native Americans, dog. This shit is too deep, man. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, let's keep reading. Turk ancestor worship required that the Quagin himself lead an annual procession of the nobles bearing sacrifices to the ancestral caves. In the course of their history and migrations, the Turkic people came into contact with several other religions. Mazdalism, Zervanism, we'll look into some of this in a moment, had a following of the Turk Quaganate, while Buddhism won the favor of numerous rulers, including the great Bilge Quagin of the Second Quaganate. The Uyghurs, who's that? The Uyghurs, this is spelled different, but it's the same people who are probably in China right now. Under Sanhegan influence, officially converted to Monarchicism or Monarchicism in the mid-8th century, while the Khazar state was ruled by aristocracy that professed Judaism. Woo! Off the top turnbuckle, baby. It is the heterogeneous heritage upon which Islam was gradually superimposed from the 8th century. The conversion of the Turks to Islam. We got to keep reading, y'all. The Turks first encountered Islam as the religion of a conqueror who slowly moved in on traditionally Turk-controlled religions and threatened Turk economic and political interests. Considering that the Turkic people had always been open to religious influences of foreign origin, their initial resistance in the face of the Muslim conquest may be regarded as severing the defense of their sources of revenue rather than that of their freedom of faith. Now, why do you think it's talking about the money? Who's messing with the money right now? Don't worry, we're going to get to talking about 2024 and the carpetbagger, but please stay with me and learn something today. I'm learning something right now, but I hope y'all are learning something with me today. We're going to go back. I promise you we will go back, if it's in my mind, and we will look at some of these funny sounding words and some of these funny sounding religions, okay? And we will look into them, but they're not important. What's important are these Turks and understanding that they have been converts the whole time they've been around. So when I get to reading stuff to you later, don't act like it's not real. Where we at? Considering the Turkic people had always been open to religious influences of foreign origin, their initial resistance in the face of Muslim conquest may be regarded as severing the defense of their resources of revenue rather than that of their freedom of faith. The territory of the Western Turk Khaganate stretched from the eastern Koratu Mountains to Jungaria, and Central Asia's Iranian oasis city-states were also within spheres of its influence. It was there that the Turk authority was first challenged by the advancing forces of Islam toward the end of the 7th century. During the first decade of the 8th century, Umayyad, commander in the 8th century, Umayyad commander Qutayba Ibn Muslim forces consolidated Islamic ruler and lowered Turkestan and conquered most of Sogdiana. By 715, the Turkic and Sogdian people of Central Asia had been forced to submit to Umayyad authority, and Transoxania came under Muslim rule. They got some crazy ass names. The Khazars were compelled to move their capital to Itil on the lower Volga in order to distance themselves from Muslim authority. Long-term resistance to Islam, however, was not possible, and the Khazar Khagan converted to Islam for the first time in 737. Even though this opportunistic conversion did not last, I wanted to get this into your minds. When I tell y'all that they pitted, all this stuff was organized from the Crusades to all this to put our asses into slavery. All this shit was organized. We're going to keep reading. Niggas think they're so smart. Even though this opportunistic conversion did not last, by the late century, Khazaria had been permanently drawn into the Muslim sphere of influence and duly Islamized. Following the conversion of the Iranian peoples, Arabo-Iranian forces conducted the joint expeditions into Turk territories and carried off large numbers of Turkic tribesmen to use them as slave soldiers in the Muslim armies. These slave soldiers, Gulams or Mamluks, eventually rose to high positions in the Muslim military hierarchy, and some of them founded their own ruling dynasties, such as the Tulanid, 868 to 905, and Ikshidid, 935 to 969, dynasties in Egypt, the Ghaznavids of Afghanistan and Punjab, 962 to 1186, and the Mamluks of Egypt and Syria, 1250 to 1517. I need y'all to understand something. While all this is going down, you can Pick whatever years you want to. You can pick the years right before the crusade, right after the crusade. These guys are at play. They're not who you think they are. Man, the carpetbagger, I'm going to have to pull off the veil off his face because everybody thinks he's not who they. I know who he is. I've been saying this stuff for years. Islamic and Jihad and the Turks. We're going to read this last part, this last little part right here, and then I'm going to get into some of the scripture that I got for you. Prophet Muhammad, that's what they call him, made the holy war, jihad, as a religious duties of Muslims, and it was conducted in order to spread Islam among the peoples of the earth. The world was divided into two main parts, Dar al-Islam, the house of Islam, and the lands already inhabited by Muslims, and Dar al-Harab, the house of war, to which Islam was to be bought by the force of the sword, that is, lands to be conquered by the Muslim armies. So you hear this right here? Conquest, conquest, conquest. What do you think these guys, once again, what you're seeing is nothing different than what you're seeing than what they saw back then. They're only now they don't have to risk getting sliced down with swords and getting resisted by smaller forces, much smaller forces who are able to resist them because they're able to fight them off. Because when you know how to fight and it's hand to hand, everything, even how big you are, all that stuff goes out the window when we're talking about real skill is on the line, all that stuff is out the window. Now, here we go. The expectation was that Dar al-Harb would gradually diminish and Dar al-Islam would eventually cover the entire surface of earth. Prophet Muhammad prescribed different treatments for the followers of the three religions of Judaism, Christianity, and Zoroastrianism, and those of all the other religions. Now, the reason why they picked those three right there is because Zoroastrianism, being the actual copier of the faith of the Jews, is that it's all those things are from the Middle East, okay? Judaism, Christianity, Zoroastrianism, they're all from the Babylon, Persia type area. You know what I mean? The Samaria type area. And no, the Judaism is something that the people were already prescribed to being a part of. Now, when they're talking about so-called Prophet Muhammad, understand me, y'all. What are they talking about other than, man, this is when they went on, this is when they forced their way into Africa and all this stuff. This is how it happened, okay? And these are cats who look just like Adam Sandler. Don't get it fucked up. They want to tell you that Muhammad was an Ethiopian and this, that, and the other. I don't believe that. Abdullah might have been an Ethiopian, but this Muhammad guy, this Mehmet guy, I'm sure he's not Ethiopian. Let me go ahead and keep it pushing. The followers of the three above religions were regarded as the people of the book. That is, recipient of God's written revelations that they had, however, listen, misinterpreted or deliberately ignored and strayed from the path. This is coming from a person who took the information and used it as they saw fit and literally mutilated the scripture and the word of God. Wow. Prophet my ass, apostate, burning in hell right now as we speak. May his pain be legendary there. And any Muslim that has a problem with that can come see me. Trust me, got no issues with that. Got no issues with putting some of this real sword ski action on you at all. The real sword, we'll see who's tougher. Such as people were allowed to keep their religion and practice it relatively freely if they were to acknowledge the supremacy of Islam and pay a tax to the Muslim treasury. Wow. These people were largely left to live in peace. So these are the Jews and all the other, you see how I'm talking about now? Right. They pay the money to be Jews. Other people aren't going to bow down to that, and the real people aren't going to. I'm not going to pay you to practice my faith, nigga. I'm practicing my faith, homeboy, and that's that. And I'm not, and you're not supreme to nothing. Fuck you, nigga. Puh. You feel me? Like that. Anyway, don't get me started, y'all. Please don't get me started. Nate Man be on one. Let me just keep reading to you, and then I'm gonna stop reading, and then I'm gonna come and I'm gonna address a couple things. It's going down though. And this link for this information is in that little box over there. Their other choice. Hold on. Give me one moment. I skipped a little bit. The adherents of other religions were regarded as heathens and were to be convicted to Islam by force. From pagans, nothing was to be accepted, not even tax, but full submission to Islam. Their other choice was the sword, that is death. Before attacking such people, however, Muslims first should, according to the instructions of the Prophet, call them to Islam and try to convert them to true faith. If they heeded the call and became Muslims, they became members of the Muslim community, paid the alms tax prescribed for the Muslims. Zakat, less is the amount of the tax paid by the conquered peoples of the book. That doesn't even make sense again. And went on to fight side by side with other Muslims to expand boundaries of the Dar Islam even further. That is what happened to Turkic peoples who lived in Muslim conquered territories. Now, my question is this, y'all. If anybody remembers, give me one moment. If anybody remembers this link right here, and not the Cyrus Schofield one, gotta pull it up real quick. It's the Roman one. Give me one moment, please. I just need half a second. I don't know why I didn't have it already pulled up. But it's the one that I was reading to y'all the last time where, people were allowed to become federati of the Roman armies. Where do you think these Muslim dudes got it from? And then we're like, yeah, you guys can become. They copied everything from everybody else. The rise of the Franks. Here we go. Bam. Now I need y'all to understand this. It doesn't seem like these are the same people. I get that. I respect that. But they are, though. They really are the same people. So the rise of the Franks says just like this. We have seen that the Roman Empire did not fall to murderous hordes of savage barbarians. The invaders who toppled the empire in the West were relatively few in numbers, were Christians who had long contact with the Romans and became sophisticated and partially Romanized by that contact. Now, I want y'all to understand this. The Visigoths, Ostrogoths, Burgundians, and Vandals tried to restore much of that culture. Who could the Turks be, y'all? Ask yourself that question. Who are they? See, when you get to the nitty-gritty of it, then you start to wonder, what are you really reading about? Now, let's read about some things, okay? I'm in the Jewish sects and their beliefs, and it's a group. It's called the Pharisees. We're going to come back to this section a little bit later, okay? And I'm going to read to you who is understood, tacit understanding. The suggested understanding is that this is who they are. We're in the book of the Maccabees, the first book of the Maccabees right now, right? And we're at the, we are in the second chapter, I want to say. Let me go back one more page. There we go. That's the bookmark. We're in the second chapter. And we're at the 42nd verse. But I'll go back 3 verses. I'll go back to 39. And I'll give you brief understanding. The people had just left because which king is it? Who's sending out the people? Antiochus? I'm pretty sure it is Antiochus who sends out his people. And this would be the same Epiphanes who I could read about in this, but there's no need to read about it. Not like that. I will read about it, but you get what I'm saying. What happens is that the people flee the city because Antiochus seizes it again, right? Now, as opposed to fighting back for their lives, it's the Sabbath. The people don't arm themselves at all. And they say that the earth will be our witness, that we have not fought against the, pretty much to the effect that we're not going to fight you, you're going to murder us, and your sins will not be forgotten. Now, if that truly is what took place, then no, their sins have not been forgotten. But what was more sad about it was the fact that they didn't fight for their lives. So Matthias is telling his people, we can't go out like that. Otherwise, they'll kill every last single one of us. Now, we're going to read right here, okay? And this is in the 100 and something year of the Grecians, but this would be understood known history, roughly 311 BC, right? Something like that. Verse 39. Now when Matthias and his friends understood hereof, they mourned for them, right sore. And one of them said to another, if we all do as our brethren, one moment, let me click on this page, I'm gonna worry about this. If we all do as our brethren, where are we at, Jones? If we all do as our brethren have done, and fight not for our lives and laws against the heathen, they will now quickly root us out of the earth. And at that time, therefore, they decreed, saying, whosoever shall come to us to make battle, whoever shall come to make battle with us on the Sabbath day, we will fight against him. Neither will we die all, as our brethren that were murdered in the secret place. Now, just to give y'all understanding, right? I want to say it's like 1,000 people got killed. It's a lot of people, you know. And so here's the part where you need to listen. I'm not telling you to ignore all that. Listen to this. Then came there unto him being Matthias, a company of Assyrians, who were mighty men of Israel. Even all such were voluntarily devoted unto the law. Let me read something to you again, just so that way you get who I'm trying to tell you these people are. Let's go back up. Let's go back up to the conversion of the Turks to the Islam, right? Bang, 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 bang. Where do we be at? Let me just find that part where they said that they didn't mind converting in the 8th century. Where we at? No. The slaves. No. There we go. While the Khazar state ruled by aristocracy that professed Judaism. The Khazar state. Who are these? The Khazarians. Well, why is that important? Because these are the same Assyrian Khazarians who are converts. Listen, they did what? They were voluntarily devoted unto the law. Why would it need to tell us that, y'all? Think about that for just one moment. Why would it need to tell me or you or anyone else that people who were practitioners of the law were voluntarily? No, they're converts to the law. Thank you very much. Now we're going to skip that part, right? We're going to go forth. I can't read the next part to you just yet. We're going to have to hold up for one moment, right? And I'm going to skip. And I'm going to go over to the second book of the Maccabees. There we go. There we go. And we're in chapter 13, I believe. No, chapter 14. Excuse me. Here we go. We'll just read verse 1 on. Verse 1 of chapter 14, 2nd Maccabees. After 3 years was Judas informed that Demetrius, the son of Seleucus, having entered by the haven of Tripolis, or Tripoli, some people know it as that, with a great power and navy, having taken the country and killed Antiochus and Lysias and his protector. Now one alchemist, who had been high priest and had defiled himself willfully in the times of their mingling with the Gentiles, stop right there. Whoever wrote this wrote the book of the Maccabees to be understood a certain way, but it has the penmanship of the same converts I'm talking about right now all over it. Anyway, seeing that by no means he could save himself, nor have any more access to the holy altar, came to King Demetrius in the 150th year, the 150th year, 151st year, presenting unto him a crown of gold and a palm, and also of the bows which were used solemnly in the temple, so that that day he held his peace. Howbeit, having gotten opportunity to further his foolish enterprise, and being called into council by Demetrius, and asked how the Jews stood affected and what they intended, he answered thereunto, those of the Jews that be called Assyrian, whose captain is Judas Maccabeus, nourish war and are seditious, and will not let the realm be in peace. Listen to that. We're going to skip back now. Now, listen to that, right? Y'all heard what he just said. They won't suffer the realm to be in peace. Okay, we're going to go to First Maccabees. And I want to say we're in the 7th chapter. And it's verse 12. And we're just going to just listen to this. Then did there assemble unto alchemists and Bacchides a company of scribes to require justice. Now, the Assyrians were the first among the children of Israel. What? That sought peace of them. Listen to that. I had to skip forward a whole book and read it to you, right? That these guys were considered seditious and nourished war, but they're the first ones seeking peace. It's because they're not the people, and they have a plan. And because they're converts, they understood the 400-year prophecy, but they knew that the people would never just let them lock them up for 400 years, right? They're not the real Egyptians. They're not the real any of that. These guys are not Greeks. They're not Romans. What's the alibi for that, huh? It's not alibi. It's alibi. It has to be. The word is Latin. It cannot be semper fidelis. It's not semper fidelis. Come on, man. Get real. Once again, none of them speak the Latin language, yet people believe them to be those people that are Greeks and Romans. Hell, you believe people who call themselves Sephardic Jews, which are, by the way, Spaniard Jews, which are what? Roman Jews. What do you think Christopher Colombo was? But a Sephardic Jew. No? Shane Khazar, quick to convert type thing. Don't even really know where they come from, because guess what? We're going to read why we don't know where they come from. Oh, Let's just breathe. Let's just breathe. Let's just go ahead and read something real quick. They were not sophisticated like the Ostrogoths and the Visigoths, talking about the Franks. We're going to just skip a whole bunch of stuff. They were still pagan, worshiping generally the same gods as many other of Germanic tribes. Tor, god of thunder, Wotan, the sky god, Tu, the warrior god, and so forth. They were grouped in tribes, each ruled by a chieftain selected from a family that claimed to be descended from who? Wotan. Let's read something else to y'all one more time. The ancient Turks worshiped the elements of nature and believed that they had been created by the sky god. They called this creator Tengri. But y'all think I'm tripping, huh? But don't worry, we're just pulling off that mask they got on so y'all understand who you're really dealing with. Now we're just going to go ahead and leave this part right here alone. I'm going to pull up another thing. It's the early history of Germanic tribes. Got to read this to y'all again. We got to really dig in here, get a real strong understanding of what the hell it is that we're reading. The origins of the Germanic tribes is lost in the sands of time. Stop. That means that they don't want to tell you where they come from because they know where they come from. Now, let me just read something to you. It says, the western branches split into the ancestors of the Baltic, Celtic, and Germanic, and the Slavic tribes, as well as a welter of smaller groups, such as those of the Latin and Greeks. How can the people come from you, but they don't speak your language? And then it tries to cover their ass again here. The languages of the Germanic tribes underwent a systematic sound change that distinguished them from the languages of the other branches. Complete, absolute nonsense, and it is absurd. Let's just keep reading. By about 500 BCE, the Germanic tribes were occupying the southern shores of the Baltic and southern Scandinavia. I wonder where these Turkish guys come from. Some of these Germanic tribes migrated and established control of new territories. Tribes from Scandinavia, known as the Goths, migrated southeast to the area north of the Black Sea. Later, they divided into the Ostrogoths, and Visigoths, and conquered areas of the north shore of the Mediterranean Sea, as far west of the Iberian Peninsula. Listen, these are the same people I just read to y'all about. Now, they'll tell you that they conquered folks and this, that, and the other. Do you really believe that, or do you think that they went in there doing things that they had no business doing? They're seditious and they nourish war. Come on. Is anybody with me right now? Does anybody follow what I'm saying? What's popping, big bro? This is one of those ones where I hope y'all really are taking in all this information. I know it's a lot to take on at a time. I know I'm asking for a lot. I really do understand that. But I appreciate your willingness to deal with it even more than anything, because it's a great thing that you're doing right now. So, as we just read, right? Let's just read this again. We're reading verse 12 out of the book of the Maccabees, first Maccabees, 7th chapter, verse 12. Then did there assemble unto alchemists and Bacchides a company of scribes to require justice. Now the Assyrians were the first among the children of Israel that sought peace of them. For they said, one that is the seed of Aaron is come with this army, and he will do us no wrong. Stop right there. These converts felt that because they had left out what the so understand this. This would be like a bunch of gang members bringing somebody's innocent little brother or innocent, little cousin, right, to a spot where you're trying to have a truce. You understand what I'm talking about? And they're saying, oh, little JoJo's with us. They ain't gonna shoot the place up. But these are cats who aren't even from your neighborhood. These are dudes who just claim to be riding for your cause. They don't even look like you. Mind that fact. Let's go ahead and keep reading. One that is a priest of the seed of Aaron is come with this army, and he will do us no wrong. So he spake unto them peaceably, and sware to them, saying, we will procure the harm neither of you nor your friends. Whereupon they believed him. Howbeit he took of them 60 men and slew them in one day, according to the words which he wrote. The flesh of thy saints have they cast out, and their blood have they shed round about Jerusalem, and there was no one to bury them. Now, I don't believe that these guys are the saints or nothing like that. But if you brought a real innocent person with you and they got killed with you, that's the real blood of a saint. See, understand right there? Now, they live in these little moments in history. This is the Pharisees. Now let's read the Pharisees. Whew! Took a long time to get here. I know. I am so sorry, y'all. But if I had just jumped right into it, then I would have done you no good service. Among the religious sects or divisions which sprang up into existence as a result of this conflict of opinion concerning matters of the law, the Pharisees were in many respects the most important. Their name was derived from the Hebrew word pedishum, separatist. After the captivity, a certain number of those who were the most ardent in their advocacy of complete religious restoration attached themselves to the tribe of Levi. Who does this sound like? The same Assyrians who attached themselves to the Maccabees, who are what? Of the tribe of Levi. Don't play yourself. Let's keep reading. The priesthood being the center of the new national life. The Khazars converted to what? Judaism. The aristocracy, the highest level up. Same people who paid taxes later on to the Muslims to practice that faith, by the way. These pious reformers who resolutely opposed all Greek and all Gentile influences, once again, making a distinction that Greeks and Gentiles are not the same, were identical with the Chassidim, who were distinguished in the 2nd century BC for the inspirations that gave to the heroic Maccabees, for the inspiration they gave to the heroic Maccabees. That's a lie. Y'all all know that's a lie. We just read to y'all. Didn't nobody inspire the Maccabees? Matthias was inspired himself. We read that the last time we was in this joint. Understand what your brother's trying to say to y'all. I have no need to try to pull one over on you. And a brief correction. 1,340 is the number of days that would be derelict. So it's not exactly a whole 1% of the 145,600. That extra 20 years would have been my miscalculation. And I don't remember if it was me thinking about Benjamin Banneker when he was born or whatever. But the last time I know for a fact that number was wrong. Just hit my mind. Had to share that with y'all. Back to business. These same cats that they're trying to tell you inspired the Maccabees. Well, where were they at to inspire the people to follow the law? Right. The Maccabees are not a good thing. All right. The Levite priesthood failed the people. It would have been the only institution partially still altogether. And the book of the Maccabees had the audacity to crack down the mouth of the Yehudites because it said that the people of Judah had given in to the oppressors. Anyway, let's just keep reading. Later, the separatists became pronounced, and they were known as Pharisees. They believed in the rigorous observance observance of the ancestral laws, and in separating themselves from the common people. What? Why do you think those converts did that? So that way they could do what? We're not like y'all. Why do you think they invented that term goyim in their Talmudic faith? Time warp. Let's go ahead and put this down for half a second. The greatest hoax. You might want to pull that up. That would be the I want to say it's the second. Yeah, it's the second link over there. Might want to tap on that. It's about to go down. The greatest hoax. Whew, we can't get into all of this. We're going to get into a lot of it, though. Where are we at? Where are we at? Where am I at, y'all? Let's go down. Let's just not get into what they're talking about. Because I don't, there's, here we go. There we go. Kabbalist. The Kabbalists know that the Shem HaMephoresh, 72 syllable name of God, the 72 angels of Jacob's ladder, the 72 Sanhedrin are also 72 proper names of daemons who are also sealed in the key of Solomon. This key is used by practical Kabbalists to construct talismans by which he may summon or conjure these beings. To speculative Kabbalists, these names represent the 72 dominions, principalities, elementals, and powers and paths over which he seeks mastery. Thus, from a Kabbalist perspective, one moment, the deity shall assign 72 daemons and infernal Sanhedrin, if you will, to watch over Zion and protect it. This is all bullshit. Who was Cyrus Schofield? I had to read that to y'all so that way y'all understood that this dude's a Kabbalist and he believes in something that is totally, totally not right. Let's just keep reading. Who was Cyrus Schofield? As a young con artist, what? As a young con artist in Kansas after the Civil War, he met up with John J. Ingalls, an aging Jewish lawyer. Let me say that again. An aging Jewish lawyer who had been sent to Atchison by the Secret Six some 30 years ago before to work the abolitionist cause. So they're saying that a Jewish guy came there to help free black people. The same dirty carpetbaggers who helped get your black asses sent here. Now they want to act like they helped set you free. The fuck out of here. Let's keep pushing. Pulling strings both in Kansas and with his compatriots back east, Ingalls installed Schofield in gaining administration to the bar and procured his appointment as federal attorney for Kansas. Listen, this nigga, look, they said he pulled the move. He pulled the okie doke, the woo wop for him. Let me just put you in there. This nigga can't even read. Made him a lawyer and made him the federal attorney for Kansas. Let's keep it pushing. Ingalls and Schofield became partners in a railroad scam, which led to Cyrus serving time for criminal forgery. Railroad scam. Trust me, it ain't got nothing to do with the Underground Railroad. Believe that. This is all after the Civil War. While he was in prison, Schofield began studying the philosophy of John Darby, pioneer of Plymouth Brethren movement, and the any moment now rapture doctrine. Did you hear me? And the any moment now rapture doctrine. Upon his release from prison, Schofield deserted his first wife, Lotine Carey Schofield, and his two daughters, Abigail and Helen. And he took as his mistress a young girl from the St. Louis Flower Mission. Sounds just like a dirty ass white dude. And he later abandoned her, Helen Van Ward, whom he eventually married. Are you hearing that? He later abandoned her for Helen Van Ward, whom he eventually married. So he took the young thing, does her wrong, does her look. Typical dirty con artist, typical dirty frock activity. These are the same people who worship Wotan. Following his Illuminati connections to New York, he settled at the Lotus Club. This is just this guy's writing. We don't know what the hell this dude is. Which he was listed as resident for the next 20 years. It was here that he presented his ideas for a new Christian Bible concordance and was taken under the wing of Samuel Untermeyer, a Jew, who later became the chairman of the American Jewish Committee, president of the American League of Jewish Patriots, and chairman of the non-sectarian Anti-Nazi League. Oh my goodness. Holy shit. Untermeyer introduced Schofield to numerous Zionist and socialist leaders, including Samuel Gompers, Fiorello LaGuardia, Abraham Strauss, Bernard Baruch, and Jacob Schiff. The last few motherfuckers you know is all Jews, so-called Jews. You know, converts, you know, the Khazars, you know, children of Tingri. These were the people who financed Schofield's research trips to Oxford and arranged the publication and distribution of his concordance. So the Jews are the same people who set up the rapture doctrine. I need y'all to understand this. It is impossible. Stop. It is impossible. It is impossible to overstate the influence of Cyrus Scofield on 20th century Christian beliefs. The Scofield Bible is the standard reference work in virtually all Christian ministries and divinity schools. It is singularly responsible for the Christian belief that Hebrew prophecies describe the kingdom of Jesus' second coming and not the Zionist vision of a man-made new world order. It is precisely because Christians persist in this belief that they remain blind to the reality of Zion. Man-made new world order. Where does the Most High God say this? Ever in the scripture? We're gonna leave this alone. Man, y'all, this is it's going down. What's up, Kennard? My bro? Man, it's just been 47 minutes of pretty much just almost nonstop pure information. A few speculative moments, obviously, for myself, but it's just been going down, brother. I believe I have undoubtedly, unquestionably, inconceivably, right on, irrevocably, right on, and irreparably unmasked who these dirty bastards are. It's done. After this version of White Heaven, I get to show how the rapture doctrine, or my next White Heaven is going to be called, oh my goodness. We get to talk about that Cyrus Scofield and the Fard Muhammad connect. But I had to talk about Cyrus now to break down how he's connected with the same carpetbaggers. Right. Now, why do you think that the so-called Khazars were starved for their money? Right on? You know what I'm saying? Starved for their money by their own people, right? Because that's what they knew was going to stop them, their ability to worship what they. So this is what I'm trying to say. These are two totally different people. The people you come from, brother, were not worried about money. They were worried about trying to worship their God after they realized they couldn't worship him anymore. Because money was never an issue. Niggas, slaves made money. Might not have been much, but shit, some of them bought their own freedom. Let's not play that out. Let's not ever forget that there were slaves who bought their own freedom from these same people who are nothing more than converts. Man, the information is out there, y'all. It's prevalent, widely known, understood information. The problem is that because it's unpopular, right? I'm not coming at the so-called Jewish community with any, there's no need for me to be hateful. I just know that they're not who they say they are. Their history says that that's not who they are, right? You have two different histories, talking about the Islam and the Turks in the early history of the Germans, right on, and then the rise of the Franks. But the rise of the Franks and the Islam and Turks says two things that are parallel. Wotan, the sky god, Tingri, another sky god, and the people claim that they descend from him. These are the rulers. Who do you think the rulers were who converted to Judaism, y'all? Come on now. White Heaven 2024. I can't stress it to y'all enough. If I don't know what day in 1753 a young Benjamin Banneker decided to make whatever, but 1,340, that's 120 days less, okay? That's 20-year difference in the time period. Follow what I'm saying. Brothers and sisters, let's say we're 1,320 days out from the realest things we've ever seen jumping off. Start counting down. Listen to me. 400 times 364 is 145,600. That is not to be underestimated. That is not to be overlooked. Nobody wants to hear that. That means that the clock is ticking on the enemies. They plotted this entire thing. The same converts who learned of the faith, they couldn't put it all. Listen, the Assyrians came around sometime in 330 BC, 320 BC, 311 BC. Right. They learned what the faith was saying. They understood, oh, these are a chosen people by the creator of everything. And we can enslave them for 400 years. But after that, everybody gets judged. There were ones of them who never wanted to do that. They were like, we can take over the world without that. No, you couldn't. The fact that I'm looking at y'all right now is because of a black person. Right. From the understanding of the natural conduit levels of energy via electricity, thermal, steam, or not steam, solar, wind. See what I'm saying? The different mediums of energy and how it can be collected and used. Somebody who looks like us did that. Everything that all that you enjoy, a nigga did at one point or another and gets no credit for. Once again, I go back to this. The problem cannot be the solution. They got murdered because they were on some other stuff. Now, I wanted to read something to y'all. This is at the very start of the Maccabees, right? First Maccabees, like the second chapter or something like that. And I got to just get into it because if we don't read it and we don't see it for what it's worth, like I said, the Latin language is one that is greatly overlooked and not appreciated. Once again, what language were the Assyrians speaking when they came down to the people? Did the people have to learn Yiddish to speak to them? They were speaking something like that. They weren't speaking Latin. If they spoke Latin then, they could speak Latin now perfectly. They've had no breaks in their history. They've had no breaks in the unless you're going to, once again, how can you be a Sephardic Jew, a Spanish Jew, a Roman Jew, and not speak Latin, cuz? How can you be a Hasidic Jew and not speak Latin? How could you be a Khazarian Ashkenaz convert and not speak Latin? If you ingratiated yourself to the ways of the people, you would have to speak Latin. Now, a lot of people probably were lost by did Islam really actually convert the Turks? No, that was always their faith. They copied other religions and then invented Islam. That's why it's not written in there like that. That's what happened. Okay? How can a guy named Muhammad come so far down the line and tell the people they're either ignoring the book or they misinterpret it? What? What is this dude talking about? See, once again, the Most High God does no thing in secret. So how could he know something? Just like what Paul said. How Paul knows something that don't nobody else? Nobody but you knows it, huh, Paul? A secret thing. See, I don't have any secrets. I just have things that I've thought about that have hit my mind that it may have never touched somebody else's mind. It's not a secret. It's just something I haven't shared right then and there. Nothing secret about it. Because anybody could conceive the same thought. Anyone living with the mind could conceive and could have conceived any of the thoughts that I've conceived. Any and every one of them. Not one of them is unique to my persons. Unique that I spoke them maybe, but not unique to my persons. Having said that, the Maccabees were strolling through it, and I'm looking for some names here, right? And there are some names that are I don't know, universal. You know what I'm saying? They're universal to the understanding. There's more than one Alexander. If I'm not mistaken, I think there's more than one Demetrius in this book, and one is not Roman, one is a Greek. Right on. But you can look through regular history and look up all the Greek King Demetriuses or Demetrius, right? And you'll find that a lot of them were just very hateable, very very despicable bastards, and they're not good people. They're just not good people. Hmm. Give me one moment. I'm gonna let it be for right now, because the only Demetrius I'm finding is my guy, the Roman dude. But still, the point is this: they don't speak the language. And I wanted to read a couple of these so-called 25 Latin legal terms. I wanted to read a couple of these to y'all to kind of round everything out. That these are not the people that you've been told to believe that they are. Ab initio, from the beginning. Ad hoc. And it says here, for the particular end or case at hand without consideration of wider application. We're not going to get into all that. And this is why I said alibi or in another place. People say alibi. But anyway, alibi or alibi. A defense of having been somewhere other than that of the scene of a crime at the time the crime was committed. Now now people want to say that this is amicus curiae, but it would be, I guess you could get away with that, but that's a real lazy term. And it's one, as an individual or organization that is not a party to a specific law to a specific lawsuit, but is advised the court regarding a point of law or fact directly concerning the lawsuit. Friend of the court. Actus reus or reis. A guilty act. The wrongful act that makes up the physical action of a crime. bona fide, in good faith, characterized by good faith and lack of fraud or deceit, legit. Oh, go. Certiorari, certified. An extraordinary writ issued by a superior court as a Supreme Court to call up the records of a particular case from an inferior judicial body as the Court of Appeals. So I just want y'all to understand. They don't talk like this, do they? Do they go around saying words like corpus delicti, body of the crime? The substance of a crime that has the prosecutor must prove and that consists of injury or loss as a death of a victim or disappearance of property and the criminal act that resulted in it. De facto, in fact, or in reality. So understand, y'all. Just like I told y'all, we'd have to become a de facto nuclear power. In reality, we'd have to become a nuclear power. Can you dig it? With real reparations, the way it is right now. De jure, by right of right. Ex parte, on behalf or involving only one party to a legal matter in the absence and usually without the notice of the other party. Ex post facto, after the fact. Ex post facto, after the fact. And it means after the fact, literally. In camera, in chambers, in private. So the word camera, right on. You see that? You see how that's funny, right? It's funny, huh? Camera, though. In lime, in limine, on the threshold of, relating to, or being a motion, petition, or order regarding the admissibility of evidence whose exclusion is sought, especially on the ground that is prejudicial. So this is when people seek to suppress evidence because the shit is like pretty much prejudice. You know what I'm saying, it's not right. In local parentis, in the place of parents, in the place of a parent. Inter alia, among other things. Ipso facto, by the very fact, by that very fact or act as an inevitable result. Locus in co, place in which, the place where a legal case or action arose. Mens rea, guilty mind, a culpable mental state. Nexus, connection, a connection or link between things, persons, or events, especially that is or a part of chain of causation. Post mortem, after death, done, occurring, or collected after death. Prima facie, after first view. On first appearance, absent other information or evidence. Pro havice, for this occasion, meaning for this occasion. Quid pro quo, something for something. Something as consideration, giving or received for something else. Scienter, knowingly. Knowledge, science, right? Knowledge of the nature of one's act or omission, of the nature of something in one's possession that is often necessary element of an offense. They would try to say that I'm obviously aware of whatever in my situation, but that can't be the case. Anyhow, my people, I bless you. I need y'all to really hear these things. They don't talk like that. We're talking English. But when I say that the Romans and the Greeks influenced this land, Black Grecians and black Romans came here on boats and brought our black asses here. Okay? Showed these white people who could barely feed themselves in Europe how to barely feed themselves here. It showed them how to use the slaves the right way. Told them that if you didn't keep these slaves in line, these niggas will overrun you. Right. Why do you think they have to be so brutal to black people? Because you'll overrun them naturally. Right. All of the wickedness that you practice, black man and black woman, you did not learn from them. You brought it here with yourself, and they simply reminded you of how fucked up you really might be. That's it. They've done nothing else. And they know that. But they are culpable in that crime alone. Well, y'all, that's the problem. 2024, if we're 1,320 days, 1,300 some odd days out from some real shit jumping off, take that to the bank, y'all. I'm going to be more than 1% right about that. I'm going to be 100% right on that. Watch me. Just watch. Just watch. Rounding out of 2024, rounding in the so-called 2025, y'all gonna see some gangster shit. It's gonna go down. I need to bring all the players to the table, though, so that way you understand why White Heaven 2024 has to take place, because they're part of the problem. They're part of those who's until their time be fulfilled, they are Gentiles. Understand this, they know this. See, they're trying to man-make their Zion here on earth. Right. As was trying to do what? Muhammad was trying to force his way everywhere. Look, even after they put their so-called seed everywhere, they're not even in control of themselves. Right. Most High God has the power to put his spirit into anyone that is contrary to what is popular belief. Facts. Am I going to get carried away with how I know most former slaves have black fathers and not white fathers who were admixture? No, I'm not going to get carried away with that. I'll say this much to you, though. If they're converts and they're men, surely they had mothers. Surely they could have had sisters. Y'all got to understand. These are cats who could barely feed themselves in the mountains. They weren't sophisticated. Thousands of years later, they called themselves sophisticated. That has got to be the greatest insult known to any kind of living man. To know that folks who literally didn't know to wipe their back end call not wiping their back end sophisticated. Let me move this Bible over here. Let's keep reading one more time. Pick it right up. They believed in the rigorous observance of the ancestral law and in separating themselves from the common people, and from whatsoever was Levitically impure. Their sect attracted to itself not only students of the law, but many who were in sympathy with its doctrines. The Pharisees, by their system of taboo, made themselves a sacred caste. Before being admitted to membership among the Chabarim or associates, each candidate was required to give pledge that he would set apart tithes on all produce of his land, that he would eat nothing that had not been duly tied, and that he would avoid ceremonial pollution, rigidly observing all the laws relating to purity. He must not be the guest of an I'm Hamares, non-Pharisee, or receive him as a guest, and must have no dealings with Gentiles. That's bullshit. How could you be a Levite priest and not take sacrifice from the people, y'all? I gotta put this down. This is what I'm saying. This concordance right here. And I have the Schofield Reference Bible. Your boy is laden with the information that these niggas would kill for right now. I got the game, y'all. I don't know how I got it. Word. I don't know how. I don't know how. But I got it. I'm putting it in. You guys will probably never hear anybody ever connect those dots like I did. I know, no screen share, nothing fancy. It's a blessing to not do things like that. It's a blessing just to tell y'all out my mouth and to tell you what it is that we're seeing. You can go pull up that same information. I'd encourage you to pull up that same information. I'm going to put this right here. Bang. Copy. I pray that people, when they come in here, man, I don't know if they're going to be able to click on those links, right? Later on in the videos, but I hope they will, because it really is a major part into how we understand what we're seeing. You know, so when I pull up the history of the Franks real quick and I throw that in there, and people say, well, why is he doing that? Why does it matter so much? Because it does. You know, it's not just, come on, can I get the rise of the Franks though? Yeah, where is it at? That's what I'm talking about, y'all. When you got too much information. But anyway, I just want y'all to see that all this stuff is connected, and it's not as easy as people think it is to put it all together. There we go. And it's not this isn't, nobody's thanking you for this, you know. I mean, y'all thank me, but you get what I'm saying. Like, y'all are appreciative people. It's different. It's way different. But I'm talking about the cats who take this information and they try to misuse it. They're not thankful for the information. All they say is, I should have found out sooner, or I could have figured that out. And they probably should have found out sooner, and they probably could have figured it out, but they didn't find out sooner, and they didn't figure it out. I did. I put it together myself. Just having conversations with folks and just trying to put and puzzle the pieces together the way that it's supposed to be. You know, puzzle the pieces together because they fit somewhere. But you have to put together your edges first. Your border. Anybody who's ever done any real puzzles knows that's how you do a real puzzle. You put together your border first. You find all your border pieces. You put together your border, and then you work like that. And then that's how you do it. And my mom and her, and really her best friend, they used to do 5,000, 10,000 piece puzzles. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about huge, huge puzzles. I've helped do puzzles in my life, y'all. I know something about some puzzles. Matter of fact, I want to go buy some. I need to get a larger area to do that in, but I would love to do that. Some 3,000 and 5,000 piece and 10,000 piece puzzles. That's how you really stimulate your mind. But yeah, I love putting the things together. And since I was a little boy, I've been doing stuff like that. So it's not hard for me now as a grown man to take the time to put together the border, so that way we have a strong structure, and then to fill in the pieces on the inside. And we put together our border years ago, and it's just now starting to come to fruition. I mean, think about how many years it took people to realize that all the black in the world was not an offense to anyone else. And they don't even think about how young I was saying that stuff. So it's not like, oh, I was trying to say it and I just was trying to convey a message. It was like I was trying to say things and I was purposely trying to separate a certain people from everyone else. could not have done a better job, because the people who were so offended by it are some of the same people who had to abandon their Pan-Africanism and pan bullshit. You know what I'm saying? They had to abandon it. They had to abandon ship. If I hadn't said anything years ago, who knows what would have happened? I always ask myself is, what happens, Meech, if you never open your mouth and never say a word? There's so many different little things that I have related to the people, that I have spoke onto the people, that it doesn't matter if it only got 10 views. I can guarantee you somebody for real, who actually has a real following, seen that video, right on, and took some of that information and was able to use it in a certain way. I can guarantee it. I just know how it goes. So I don't sweat the fact that people are going to come here and use the information. I sweat the fact that they use the information and then don't tell the truth. You know, tell the truth. You can't really shame the devil. Devil's shameless. You know, that's the lie that the devil told. So that way people will try to shame the devil. There's no need to do that. Just tell the truth. Word. So I say, if he can be shamed. How do you shame someone who has no scruples, who has no core values? Kill, steal, and destroy are not core values. Right on? You feel me? Those aren't core values. If a tree falls over in a forest, falls onto a man, they kill that man and stole his life, and it destroyed everything that anybody who depended on him. Is that tree an evil spirit because it had loose roots and a compromised base, and that man was lackadaisical, wasn't paying attention? Is that the tree's fault? You see what I'm saying? There has to be a level of you putting into perspective what it is that you know, and then saying, okay, what does that actually relate to? You can't relate. Apples to oranges is still relatable because it's fruit, but apples to potatoes doesn't make sense. You follow what I'm saying? The way the way you would cultivate a potato and the way that you would wait for the righteous fruit of an apple tree are totally different. So you just have to have the mind to know that. And it doesn't matter what people think. It doesn't matter what they think they know. It matters really what you do at the end of the day. You know, um, I was laying down in my bed. I thought about not doing this tonight. You know, getting up, doing it early in the morning, or just doing it whenever I felt like it. The next White Heaven 2024 is going to be the Great Connection. We're gonna draw some parallels. We already drew a bunch of parallels today, a bunch of similarities. I I picked this Islam and the Turks. I promise to God, God kill me. I have never seen that. I've never seen it. Never seen it. I've never seen that article. Never ever seen that article. We're gonna tie it all together, and we're gonna put it all together, and it's going to be the most fun thing that I think I've done in a very long time, because tonight was so fun. I don't know. I get stimulated when I read that Tengri is a sky god of a people who are of Germanic origin, and that the Franks, the most famous of the Germanic people, say that Wotan, come on, sky god, is their god. I get excited. I get stimulated when I hear that. Maybe I'm the only one. Maybe I'm just that big of a geek, right on, nerd, whatever you want to call it. And I get excited when I read that. Y'all, there's only so many. You can only be so damn different and talking the same before I say, man, that's the same thing. That's the same thing. It literally is the same thing. And they're telling us history from the other side of you, as if they're victims. Whoo, boy, they are good, aren't they? If you let them, boy, they get you with the cold okie doke now, okay? When I say the cold okie doke, cold okie doke. I bless all my brothers and sisters because I know all y'all are special righteous and honorable people. I know that's what you strive to be at the end of the day. Don't worry, I fall short all the time. So whatever you think of me, when I tell you I fall short all the time. In my own book, I feel like I fall short of the glory. I know I do, but I can tell you that. So that way you don't feel no type of way about yourself. So whatever level of esteem you have for me, I'm still just a regular person. I make mistakes. I think things I shouldn't think. I do things I probably shouldn't do. Uh, that's what it is. But I'm able to relate that to you and not act like I'm so different from you. Right on. Did Moses not relate to the people? Did Moses separate himself from the people? What? Moses loved the people. Moses loved the people so much the Most High God had to kill him. Stop it. And now you're telling me that the Levite priesthood was not to be among the common people? What? These guys is tripping. These are the same rabbis who want to suck a baby's penis. Did anybody hear me? The same rabbi that wants to suck a baby's privy member is the same person who gonna tell you that he don't want to hang out with me and you and have a cold beer after work. Wow. If that is not befuddling, I mean, I am awestruck like a mug. Huh. Can't believe it. Can y'all believe it? That people with baby dick on their breath is running the whole world? That has got to be the most insulting thing. Of all the things, that has got to be the most insulting thing. Somebody tell me I'm lying or I'm wrong. See, once again, I'm going to hold back the hardcore ammo for this next one. But I got some nasty things to say to them. Not nice things at all to say to them. And to the likes of them. The rapist and the pedophile and the molester. Don't worry, we're going to do that Talmudic priest Catholic Church connection. Little boys getting humped on in the Catholic Church and babies getting freaking, oh my goodness. Okay? Violated. And they think it's normal. Please separate yourself from me if that's how you're moving. Don't get anywhere close to me. And no, you cannot hit the blunt. No, Rabbi, whatever your name is, Finkelstein, Gold Jew, you cannot hit my blunt, homie. No, don't know where those lips have been. And neither can no Catholic priest. That's what, you think I'm lying? That's how I'm rocking. That's how y'all better feel about these cats, man. They're not good Gentiles, let alone good people. Bad Gentile. Bad. Anyway, let me stop. Y'all just don't know how I'm feeling right now. That's how I'm feeling about this. White Heaven 2024. We're 1,300 and something days out from the realest shit that people have ever seen. And I'm willing to put a lot of money on it. Ooh, I'm willing to put a lot of money on it. I'm willing to go all in for that cause. What's poppin', fam? Just in here talking about some things. You probably have to run it back here in a minute because I'm about to be out of here in a couple minutes. But it's going down. Just talking about what needs to be talked about. The Jews, or the Khazars, or the Assyrians, or the Pharisees, or the Hasidic order, the Ashkenazis, the Sephardic dudes, whatever you want to call them, right? You know, they got so many identities. I don't even know who they are anymore, right? So, you know, the Ottoman Turk Empire, those guys, you know, who come from Tingri. who are obviously converts, have been converts their whole lives, and speak from the point of view of people who were converts, that they were forcefully converted to Islam, a language that the Turks created, that something that they were able to conveniently ignore. However, I ask you guys this. If 737 was the year that they much love, fam, be good. If 737 was the year that they said that the damn Turks were converted to Islam, y'all do realize that's still before the Crusades, right? No? Y'all do realize that there was a person on the other side of the so-called Mediterranean who was gathering the other pagan people and converting them to Christianity and saying that we're going to take over the world, fill the whole world with Christians. I do realize that, right? Same people who came from a similar bloodline as them. Am I the only one? I mean, literally, am I the only one? That's what I got to know. And that these two groups forced their own lineage to fight against one another so that way they could do what? Make the transatlantic slave trade take place. Don't worry, I'm going to do some other stuff. I'm going to talk about some other real world history this next time through. We can only talk about so much each time. I can only get boggled down in those things because I already know what's up. And I really believe that you already know what's up. I'm about to get off this joint here. I'm going to stick around for a little bit. I'm getting hungry. So, got to get ready to produce some sustenance, I'm talking about, so I can make it through the night. But I'm ready. I just believe that this is what I have to do to show you guys what's really up. And this has been really probably the most informative way I've been able to do it this entire time. Of course, we're going to rehash old information coming into this next one. Of course, we're going to rehash some of the things that we said just this time going into this next one. But what we're going to focus on more than not is the connection between the Nation of Islam, Fard Muhammad, this is deep now, right? And Cyrus Schofield. And how one was supported by the same group of people who are converts of the faith, and that the other is a direct descendant of the people who converted people to a specific faith. Now, the question I have for every single one of you is, if Fard Muhammad is a white man, how could the Nation of Islam be prevalent with black prisoners? Think about that, brothers and sisters. So I get ready to end it out. I asked this one time, are there any, and I will wait 20 seconds, are there any questions for Brother Jones before he decides that he's going to take his hiatus? And I'll wait. I love this part right here. Nobody ever has any questions for me. They're all so funny. My time is not that precious. It's precious to me, but it's not that precious. Or it only means something when I'm trying to do something. So this would be the time to ask me while it's fresh and hot in your mind, while it's, got your attention, whatever it is, it's got a hold of you. This would be the time to go ahead and bring it up before you guys decide to go and live your lives. No? Nothing? Nothing for me, huh? Okay. I salute you, brothers and sisters. You know I do. And I love you so much more than I'll ever salute you. You guys have a blessed night. May tomorrow be better than today. And may the week that follows be better than this week. Peace.